Okay. So what we needed was some kind of system that worked across 3 institutions. So we had 3 large institutions using completely different processes. They'd all had studentships in the past, they'd managed them their own way, usually paper-based systems, and we didn't want to have to manage that across 3 institutions and be emailing applications backwards and forwards. So we wanted an online workflow that could manage the applications, the reviewing, and everything right through to the decision stage.
And that's when you approached Tom?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what happened then.
Well, because when I work with people, I can't make them some software that they need to do their thing. I have to work with people and teach them things and show them new things and try new approaches, and that's what we did. And we wired together a whole lot of Google tools, and such as spreadsheets and forms and documents that allowed people to review people's applications and approve them or give them marks. And that's that. And Caryn is now definitely more expert in areas than she's teaching me. So
I get the impression from reading and from what you've said is it's not necessarily new and innovative technology. It's about pulling it together over a complex set of different needs, and the speed upon which you needed to get that done,
yes,
that made it a challenge.
The Google Apps tools are available to any. Google Apps for Education is available to anybody to use, but they are so incredibly flexible that you can sew them together in a million different ways to achieve a lot of different ends. And Tom's so enthusiastic about them that you kind of end up believing you can do anything with them.
Can you just recap what it is you used it all for?
Yes. What we used it for was studentship applications, so the reviewing and the management of those. But then there was a second and a third stage, and we started realising that once our students started, we needed to hold student information in some kind of database. We had a little bit of a look at Microsoft Access. I'm not at all technical and I didn't understand that. We had a quick discussion with Tom about using Google for this, but Google doesn't have a database. But Tom was so enthusiastic and said, oh no, you can do this with Google Sheets, and just started us off with a few tools. And actually we took it and kind of ran with it from that point onwards, that end of things. We still need his help with the studentship applications phase, but the database stage we're kind of managing ourselves now, and we've extended its use now as well, and we're using Google Sites that pulls the information directly from our database using something called Awesome Tables. And it allows you to show certain subsets of data, which is incredibly useful. It also allows you to create links so that people at the 3 institutions can access and add to our database data without messing up what's in the database itself, which is so incredibly useful. It saves us a massive amount of time, and it makes it really, really simple for them as well.
Okay, so what's been the impact of this on people's working lives?
I mean, am I allowed to say, like, in nominating you guys, it was because of the impact that I see it having on my own job, which isn't directly to do with the WROCAH College of Arts and Humanities, but it frees up the time of my colleagues because they're using such a simple system that's really effective. That means they've got more time to work on other projects that impact on my job. And I think I work with a lot of doctoral training partnerships and centres for doctoral training that work across institutions that don't have this kind of innovative use of Google in place to manage all these systems and the scholarship applications, and the magnitude of work that comes with the lack of that kind of cohesive system across institutions just really is impacting on workload generally, and is set to grow really because we're having more of these kind of things. So I think what these guys have done, if that could be applied to some other centres that York's involved with or other institutions across the country, it will sort of save time really, and just it makes it all much more transparent as well, and I think everybody involved can sort of see what's going on with all the applications, and it's robust, and yeah, the fact that it's shared across institutions which have quite a lot of complex systems.
Fabulous.
And if you've got a paper-based process with the best and hundreds of people applying, somebody's is always going to slip down the back of the cupboard. Even if you're really careful, or get picked up with another one type of thing. So.
Yeah. So as a result of that, you've less mistakes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, the data integrity, I have so much faith in the integrity of the data now, because very, very little of it is entered manually. It's only, reviewer comments and things like that, which can only be entered manually, that, will go in that way.
Yeah, and it's really boring, but once you've got your data right, you can then start to do new things with it. You can start to look at it in visualizations, and put pictures on the wall and work out new things about your own job, understanding from a different perspective.
Okay. So a little bit more on that impact. So you've talked about the impact as a nominator. What's been the impact for you guys?
Well, I get to work with Caryn.
So there's collaboration across different departments.
Yeah, mulled wine at Christmas.
Yes. Oh, yes, yeah. That was nice, wasn't it? From my point of view, it's maybe useful to give you some numbers. So we get about between 400 and 450 applications for studentships. Those have to go out to 35 different departments across 3 institutions. There is an academic and administrative member of staff that needs access to those at those institutions. And then any number of staff beyond that they might choose to give access to. So, we're up to, hundreds of people who need access even at that stage. Then once the applications have been forwarded by those departments or schools, they need to go out to the reviewers. We've got 75 peer reviewers at 3 institutions, all of whom need to access the data. We need to know who the main reviewer is and who a secondary reviewer is. And so we've actually built on the process that we had last year, based on the feedback that we got from the universities, to build a better process this year so that we can now identify who's reviewer 1 and reviewer 2. And it just has made it so much easier and quicker for people doing reviews. And from our point of view, it's all about the data integrity and the confidence that we've got the right data in the right place.
Fantastic.
Can I say one more thing as well?
Please
I
do.
found what these guys have done quite inspiring, and it's made me, I've chatted to Tom about a totally different application of Google to a system, some of the finance stuff that we're involved in, and I think it's just really demonstrated for me and others that I know work with these guys that you can develop something really simply with these tools that we all have available to us at York. And I use Google. I think it's great, but they've kind of taken it to that next level. But I know that I don't need to get a whole few years worth of systems training to be able to achieve that. I can go ring Tom and sit down and hopefully do that. So I think it's really, it shows that what we can all do really if we get a bit of extra time.
Yeah. And the impact for me is that I regularly go out and work with people, and sometimes you wonder why if it's working, and every now and again it does work, and it works beyond your expectations. And I then have examples which have a context which makes sense to other people.
And this is one of them.
Yeah. So somebody who understands the things that Caryn's working with more than I do sees the work that we've done and can apply it to what a use for them. So, you see, I couldn't have given it that context, right? Because I don't understand PhD studentships, but I don't need to. Once we've got something that kind of does the things that academic institutions need to do.
And I can already see there's the possible applications that I can use in my new job that I'm moving to around demand management of grants and peer reviewing across the institution. Just some of the things that are being used that Caryn's developed with Tom that I definitely can see being sort of modified slightly, but we can use them in other ways. And I think that's why I was so keen to nominate them, because I just felt like if it can get visibility, then there's other people who can just think, oh yeah, I could do that for that, and yeah.
Absolutely fab. So in terms of your story, your case, what's been the critical points, the critical success? If you could name it.
Well, for me, I think mine's different from Caryn's.
That's absolutely fine, I would expect that.
Mine was just seeing Caryn slightly wild-eyed going, look what I've done over here! And me saying, how have you done that? I was like, wow! And so that's kind of, that for me is the big success, because she's now in a different place than she was when she first came to see me, and I literally am learning from her now.
I think she's showcasing York as an excellent institutional lead for Centres for Doctoral Training, doing this kind of setup that's working really well across institutions. People want to hear about it because it's something that all institutions have been grappling with. How do we work with our partner? How do we share and have a shared process when we've all got different systems? So, and the time saved. You're saving so much time that I think, yeah, for you guys in your job, but
We should
for
get
other
bonus,
people.
shouldn't we?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, we're also presenting on what we've done at the Student Record Officers Conference. So I'll be talking about the systems that we've developed, and also the ARMA as well, the Association of Research Managers as well, so from the context of managing a doctoral training partnership. The big success from my point of view, I love working with Tom because he's just so enthusiastic about everything Google, and you know, I've now started to believe I can probably do almost anything I need to do with Google, and even if I can't see it, I can give Tom a call and Tom will say, oh, have you tried this gadget, or have you tried this particular application of this app, or just go to this website and you'll find some nice little examples of script. And you know,